What is up, Fanatics? It's 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means another episode of Home Theater Fanatics Live. Tonight is episode 137, and we have a great episode for you. Today, we have Sasha Osachi.
Very well. You said it beautifully. Yes.
Right
no, I love it. Thank you.
With a silent D.
The D is very much silent.
Very silent. And he is representing a pretty cool, I think you guys are pretty cool company.
I appreciate it. I'm a bit biased myself, but thank you for telling me. Yes.
Yeah, Screen Innovations, right?
Yeah, that's it. Screen Innovations or SI, or actually it's really only one of those two, but you can choose.
I guess you could try to say them at the same time. Screen.
You could, and I'm happy that you did it and not me. We beta tested that one, and I think, well, I guess the world audience will tell us the verdict on that one in the comments below. Is that how that works?
That is how it works. Absolutely. Yeah. And then also you can do a please like and subscribe and all those things as well. Ring the bell to be notified and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the folks are showing up. It's great to have everyone in the audience with us tonight. And Sasha, it's great to have you with us tonight. And maybe we can start the show by telling people who you are, because I'm sure everybody out there is like, who's that dude?
Yeah, well, I understand. Seen him before. And that's very much understandable. I normally don't get out for reasons that will be discovered over the next 40 minutes. But first of all, I want to say that is the greatest introduction I probably have ever heard, ever. And I don't think I'll ever have anything like that ever again. So thank you, Giles, for making me feel like a whole individual. So
it only gets better over time. So the next time you're on the show, just imagine the feeling of elation you'll have at that point. This is just a mere teensy tiny little inkling.
That's incredible. Well, my favorite thing is that you're saying when you have me back again. So I hopefully you'll maintain that method. So listen, enough about me and these words. Let's talk about really quickly who Screen Innovations is. So we've been around for about 2003, and we've been creating high performance projection screens. We've also been making indoor and outdoor motorized shades. But something that's really unique about us is we do everything in Austin, Texas. Our engineering, production, powder coating, quality control, it's all done here locally. And with anything we've ever come out with, there's always been a very simple but specific approach. Everything we make, absolutely everything, is based from feedback from real people just like you, people that are actually using the products. So whether it's our projection, indoor and outdoor shades, our goal is to truly just inject as much joy and happiness into your life. So when you do have those times to kick back and relax, well, we can bring the incredible experience to you. That's what we're all about.
Right on. It makes a lot of sense, because I always wondered why your screens were so much larger than everyone else's.
I've got to be careful. That's right. With the audience. Well, of course, the size
everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Everything.
So with that, we do want to make sure that, if you want a massive screen that can go even more than 300 inches on the diagonal, I guess why not? But there could be some situations where maybe you don't need a screen quite as big. And probably one of the unique scenarios would have been what happened at around 2014. Giles, I don't know if you know this or not, but NASA, the NASA, came to us and said, NASA? Yes. And I'm not
we have to call them the NASA now.
It is literally the NASA. And I'm going to tell you a verbatim dialogue with zero creative license being used. They came to us and said, yo, Screen Innovations, very casual over at the NASA. They said that our cosmonauts floating around the International Space Station, they are using 13-inch monitors. 13-inch monitors to communicate with ground control. This little thing to scale. Watch Star Wars and Star Trek, and also attempting to maintain an emotional connection with their families on a 13-inch monitor. So
all I heard there was that cosmonauts watch Star Trek.
Yeah, I know. Out of all things to watch up there, they must be really proud of their engineering, especially with Star Trek. There's a lot of explosions happening way up there. And so I believe to this day, we still have a monopoly of screens that are in outer space. And 3 months ago, they sent us an update. The screen is still there 6 months later. So that one wasn't a 300-inch screen. It was close to a 60-inch, but we had to really figure out how to make it work in that space.
That's kind of cool.
But here's the thing. When I say we, not me. We have a lot of incredibly smart engineers. I just happen to say a lot of words in succession, and sometimes things work out.
Right on. I mean, that's typically the path in life that I take.
Yeah.
And, words are like a box of chocolates.
Yes.
You
You
never
never
know
know
what you're
what
going
you're
to
going to
get.
get.
You
Some of them
just,
are incredibly bitter. Others you just want to throw away. I know.
yeah.
That
I
was
mean,
my
and some
Forrest
of them
Gump
you just want
takeaway.
to swallow down and,
Yeah.
yeah.
That is really my life. Just wishing that all those words that I didn't actually say, I would. This is really becoming therapy, which I don't mind whatsoever.
So for everybody watching, I warned Sasha. So Sasha's like, okay, I practiced my thing and I went through all the topics and I
you
timed
have
it
no
and it was
idea.
like 17 and a half minutes. He's like, and I know there'll be a little bit of, banter and I'm like, no,
Oh,
you don't understand.
I had no idea. Okay, so just so you guys know, Giles here, although he may seem like he is somewhat aloof, he knows what he's doing. This guy, he's so easy, he's so great. I didn't even need to prepare. Just kidding, if my boss is watching. I did need to prepare, and I did prepare, as you can see.
You actually practice your whole spiel, which is pretty cool because I don't practice this spiel. I guess it's kind of like practicing every week though when you do it over and over and
Yeah,
but
well, that's effectively it. Yeah, you're just, you're developing your rhythm, and it's kind of the same thing. Like when you're at home, you're cooking, you're just practicing. Everything is all about just hopefully just being a slightly better version of yourself. Wow, that is some great advice. Take that to the bank, ladies and gentlemen.
man, I feel like a new man.
Yeah.
And speaking of being a new man,
Yes.
let's talk about theater stuff.
Very good. Excellent segue.
Right,
Also, just like a pro.
So you guys, NASA, obviously that's a pretty good feather to have in the cap there. And looking at my outline of things that I should be talking about, the next one on the list is something called your black diamond material.
Yes.
To me, when I hear that, all I think of is skiing and
Yes.
the potential death area on any particular slope.
Right.
But that's probably not what you're talking about.
It is. The good news is these two black diamonds are only the equal in the sense where they're both very exciting problems to have, or products to have, I should say. Now, our black diamond is a little bit different than this doomsday trap that Giles was explaining. But to really understand why the black diamond needed to exist, take a trip back through memory lane for those of you that remember projection 10, 20, 30 years ago. In those environments, you had to have a dedicated media room. Everything had to be totally black. Otherwise, you really wouldn't have a great projection experience. So when we came out with the black diamond, that pioneered the ambient light rejecting screen, or ALR screen material, which meant that you no longer needed a dedicated media room. You could effectively have this great home theater experience in any room that you have. So that was also a really big thing that we helped for the industry. But this was, again, based on all the feedback that y'all gave us.
That's cool. Right on. Yeah, I have a screen in a room that's not my theater that is ALR material. So yeah, it's really good stuff. It's super cool. Right on.
Yeah.
Now, as we're talking about screens, that's one of the two significant product lines that you guys have, right? So one is screens and the other are shades, and you've got indoor and outdoor shades. But as far as screens go, I mean, what's that portfolio look like? I mean, what all goodness exists out there? And maybe I can pull up the web page, and show that as well a little bit while we're talking about it. So
amazing, the technology that you can have here.
So crazy.
Oh, just showing things and talking at the same time. So you know what? While we're at it, let's just go ahead and click on the little square on the left, or the big square, the projection screens one. So we wanted to make sure that
dude's so happy.
Look, that could not be any happier, and for sure not a paid actor. These are all very real people, which is technically true. Now, if they're a real family, that's left to be decided. But effectively, we wanted to have a style for everyone. So if you go and mouse over towards the top, you'll see that we have a motorized section and we have a fixed screen. So if you go a little bit to the left, there you go. So as you can see, we have a ton of different styles. So as you click through, you'll see that there's something for everyone. But on our motorized side, by far the most popular one is the Solo Pro 2. Give that one a click. That's going to be the second one there. So a couple of things that we wanted to make sure. is that if you did want to have a screen that could disappear, let's make it as small and sleek as possible. So the form factor is really nice, and we powder coat it. So all the powder coating is done here in Austin, Texas, 12 beautiful colors to choose from. Powder coating is super durable, so that way you get something that looks really nice, but also if you're doing motorized, that means you have to have power, and maybe you don't have a way to run power in every room. So why not get this specified with a lithium-ion battery? It'll last you once every 1.5 to 2 years before you got to recharge it. The charging style is this wonderful, delightful magnetic induction charger, which is patent pending. Recharge it once every 1.5 to 2 years, and you're good to go. So it actually has a very similar aesthetic to our indoor shades. So we'll talk more about the shades in a little bit. But if we go to our fixed style, we now have 2 very contrasting styles there as well. The more maximalist, movie theater-esque 5 and 3 and 7 series fixed with the thicker bezels that are all hand wrapped in velvet. But if you take a peek at the Zero Edge, that is what most people love to do. And by the way, these fixed screens can go over 300 inches on the diagonal. And the beauty of the Zero Edge and the Zero Edge Pro is that you get these really slick, thin bezels. So effectively, you have this massive thing attached to your wall. And if you get the Zero Edge Pro, you can get different types of colors. You can even go ahead and get it with backlights included. So if you're like me and you're a huge fan of the Vancouver Canucks, who will never, ever win anything ever under any circumstance, but since you're a glutton for punishment, you get their lights back there. What sport is that? Oh, that is a sport that we call ice hockey. It's effectively like you have little ice skates and you kind of run around and then you attack people, and sometimes you get a penalty, and other times, if you're the Boston Bruins, you can do whatever you want. I'm absolutely not bitter about what happened in 2011 when the Boston Bruins cheated their way to just watch it. It's horrendous. Anyway, if you want to go and backlight it with whatever, you have no idea. I'm a very passionate individual about my Vancouver Canucks, who will never win. So this way you can go and truly customize it to what you need, whether it's motorized or fixed. We got you covered.
That's cool. I just wonder how difficult it is when you have this, Zero Edge, and I mean the bezel on that's tiny. I mean, it's got to look really, really cool. But man, your projector mounting skills got to be on point.
Exactly. Well, the beauty of the way that the Zero Edge is put together, it's basically a whole bunch of right angles. And because we have such incredibly tight tolerances with our machines, as things are put together, it's really as easy as it could be. So from even an install process, which likely you as a person watching will not be doing it, but even the person installing it, they're going to have a really, really smooth time, because in the end, we want them to get in, do their job as quickly and efficiently and correctly as possible, get out so you can start enjoying that experience and leave the installing to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd be that guy that's like, give me the 5.5-inch bezel on either side. And then I'm setting up my projector and I'm like, okay, I've got 4 inches of light on the bezel on the right side and 2 inches on the left. Perfect.
Well, but listen,
perfect.
But that's exactly it. And there's a methodology to the madness, but the more you do it, the more kind of fun it is to get that really picturesque moment when it's all done right. It's awesome.
Right on. So let's just say hi to a few people that are with us today. Hi-Fi Haven. Hey man, glad to have you on the show with us. My Mail is here. Always good to see you. Joey Peacock from Accurus and Aragon, actually. Aragorn. They build AVRs, processors and amplifiers and 2-channel stuff, and really cool company.
Oh no, that poor fool. He thinks he's going to learn something from me. Joey, oh no, I'm so afraid to disappoint. So, well, I'll do my best, but I'm happy that I need this positive energy. This is very good, Joey. Thanks for your support.
Yeah, I need the recording for that song, the one that goes, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no,
oh no. I had no idea what that was, because again, we are totally on topic here. I watch all of my videos on Instagram completely muted. I know it's probably not the best way to do it. So I just kind of look at the imagery, look at the video, and then kind of create my own little thing.
Sure.
And so that song was unlike anything I'd ever heard before in my life, because people were commenting, why is this song everywhere? And I thought it couldn't be that bad. Turns out some things can be that bad that was one of those things. But it was a good experience. Now that I don't have it in my life, life is that much better, which is great.
There you go. Right.
That's the positive. Yes.
Yeah. Michael says the extra gain is perfect. And this is when we were talking about ALRs, I believe. And he uses it in his room. That's cool.
Phenomenal.
And
awesome.
then I like this battery operation.
Listen, and Michael is literally throwing out, all I'm doing is what Michael's words are, but just adding more fluff to the beginning and the end. But seriously, that battery operation is such a great thing because you really are not now forced to be in a very specific area. Really, it's portable. Use it wherever you need to. I'm happy you love it, man. It's cool.
He loves it.
Yeah. Let's get him on this call. This is great. This is perfect. This is who we need. Well, Michael, if you love it, I'm thrilled. I'm so happy about that. But in the end, this is what we're talking about, where it's one thing to just say these empty platitudes that, yeah, we're doing what's right for the client. But when you have people like Michael and people that are tangibly utilizing it and loving things just like the battery, that validates that our approach really does work for us. And so, Michael, thank you for all the feedback, and same thing for everyone else out there. Please, any feedback that you have on our products, I will probably take all the credit for it when I bring it up to management so I can keep getting a paycheck. But we really take all that incredibly seriously, and we love that you're having a great experience.
That's cool. Here's an interesting item. So Joey says, and this is, I think, in a very serious tone, like Giles, ask him about screen masking, his product options and thoughts and recommendations. That's how I envision him saying it. Or maybe he could have done it like Batman. Giles, ask him about screen masking, his product options, and his thoughts, recommendations.
That seems, with the amount of ellipses, I imagine that is going to be the right approach. So, all right. So there is something that, especially for people that are really, really old school, with Screen Innovations, way back in the day, we used to have a motorized screen that would change aspect ratios. It was a super nifty thing, and unfortunately, it was much more of a niche type product, but that was able to kind of solve the issue of perhaps those black bars that you're talking about. So this does segue into a really important conversation about aspect ratios. So for those of you that are really looking at screens and trying to figuring out what to do, there are things you got to consider. We'll talk a bit about the screen materials. That's super important. Of course, the form factor, but understanding what content you're going to run is going to be super pivotal. So you're going to be really in one of two camps.
Okay, hold on. I have to call a timeout on this.
Yes.
We have skipped ahead, and now we are moving into the tech question of the week. Now we can go back and get to the other stuff, but hold on. Let's do it right.
Yes.
It's time to talk about things that you don't know about, but we do. When you don't know and you have a question, you have to come and watch the tech question of the week. And today's tech question is, how do you get rid of black bars on your screen, Sasha?
Right. So
you got to tell us what's up with this masking, black bars. Tell us what's going on.
So what's going on with the black bars has to do with that aspect ratio. So to reiterate what some of us know, but some of us that are maybe new to this, it's good to have the foundation that you're going to fall into one of two major categories with what you're watching. So either you're doing your good everyday content, which is what, ESPN, your Food Network, your Hulu, your Netflix. That's going to be your 16:9 aspect ratio, 16 wide and 9 tall. And this is something that most people are going to be utilizing. There is another very common aspect ratio, which is for a dedicated movie watching experience. That's going to be your ultra wide aspect ratio. So 235:1 or 240:1. So it is really, really wide. So here's the thing. If you are trying to watch ultra wide movies, but your aspect ratio is 16:9, you are going to have a bit of a black bar towards the top and towards the bottom. That's an unavoidable thing because ultra wide is, as it implies, ultra wide. But the beauty is that if you think about it, we've been dealing with that black bar on the top and the bottom for like ever. You think about those like really old tube TVs when you're watching things on your VHS, you still have that black bar on the top and the bottom, but I can guarantee that within 45 seconds, you don't even notice it. It is not aggressive at all. It kind of blends away. But where things get tricky is if you have that ultra wide aspect ratio, which is designed for movies But then you start watching sports, you start playing video games, you're watching Food Network. Now, all of a sudden, you have these really obvious bars on the left and the right side. And those ones really make the image feel squeezed and incomplete. So, all we can really do is mitigate the black bars. So, the most important thing is recognizing your content that you're going to be watching. So, that way, 95% of the time, you don't have to worry about the bars. But sometimes when you are watching the ultra wide stuff, you'll have a bit towards the top and the bottom, but that is far and few in between. But for ultra wide, make sure if you do that, yeah, you're doing it for a dedicated ultra wide experience because you're planning on watching a lot of other content on there. Those left and right bars get pretty aggressive. So it's really about choosing the right aspect ratio for what you're doing most of the time.
Right on. And there are a lot of add-on solutions to help with that kind of stuff. So as an example, if you go with a ultra wide screen, a CinemaScope 241 kind of situation, you can always use like a scaler and a anamorphic lens to use all of the light output of your projector. And you could use something like a Lumigen if you've got ultra wide screen, but you want to watch 16:9 and do what they call, what is it called? It's a like variable edge stretch or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the center of the screen, it doesn't do any stretching at all, but on the edges, it stretches it out to fill the screen, but it's not really too distorted. So lots of things you can do on the processing side. If you're watching content that's not formatted specifically for the screen aspect ratio that you have.
Now, what Giles, I think what you said was really important. You pointed out that when you start making these modifications, it can start to distort the image. So it's not that it's impossible to make things work, but
Yep.
in the end, what we're really trying to do is maximize performance. And when you start altering these kind of things, of course it can work, but you're taking away from what the experience could be. So definitely
Right on.
keep that in mind if you start messing around with these type of things, for sure.
Cool. Right on. Okay, so now that everyone knows about aspect ratios and screen shapes and sizes and cool stuff like that,
Oof.
I want to talk a little bit about something that I'm actually interested in that has nothing to do with home theater, but it's a product that you guys offer, and that's your shades.
Yeah, so this was a pretty relatively recent thing in the grand scheme when you think about it, because although we started our company in 2003, we got into motorized shades on the indoor side and outdoor side roughly 4 years ago. Now, what we wanted to do is, in fact, the exact same thing that we did on the screen side, which is talk to real people and figure out what were some of the pain points. And something that kept coming up had to do with the design of traditional motorized shades, that they, although looked very beautiful, they had a tendency to be a little bit on the bulkier side. So one of our goals was to figure out, could we perhaps make the smallest motorized shade in the industry? And the engineers were somehow able to figure it out. So when you go to the indoor shade little thing at the top and go down to where it says nano box, the nano box itself is the smallest shade, the smallest cassette in the industry at 2 3/4 inches tall and deep. And when you combine it with one of our 12 powder coated options, it literally can disappear into the environment. In fact, if you like the way our Solo screen looks, the motorized screen, this has a very similar form factor to that. So very nice aesthetic, but we have all kinds of things, whether it's the box or the roll or even the duo shade where you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, look at that.
So check this out. Sometimes, even with the black diamond, which as we know, it is the leading ALR screen in the industry, there can be some room environments that are so bright that even the black diamond can't accommodate it. We'll always be honest about the performance. So a great way to circumvent room environment issues, blackout shades. So that way you can keep the area nice and dark, but especially when you get something like this, which is our duo shade system, you can have one fabric as the blackout one. So that way, when you want to get that dark experience, you can, but then the other shade can be some kind of a light filtering fabric or a sunscreen fabric to let in a lot of natural light. So this way you do get the best of both worlds, but a shade is a phenomenal way to deal with a lot of light issues that you can run into when not having a dedicated media room.
Yeah, I love this. I've got the Nano Duo up right now.
Cool.
And this is cool. I love the idea of two different shade materials, for obviously for different purposes, and you can have them both up and have all the light. You can have, a dimmer or a light filtering version.
Yeah.
And then, if you don't want people to see in at all, or you want to block all the light, you can just drop the blackout. That's super cool.
And that's totally the premise. And especially when you start dealing with something like the duo shade you're seeing here, it really is about customizing it to your personal space. So obviously, we think a lot about darkening the room with shades, or even in some situations, brightening it up with a light filtering one. However, also think about shades as far as doing some damage control. Literally, my mother had a very delightful baby grand piano that she kept next to a window that had
man.
Oh yes. No, the story gets better, because this baby grand piano was passed down from her parents as well. So it was a nice little prized possession. So of course, when mom had to sell, or not had to, but decided to sell her home, she realized that we needed to go and sell the piano because there wasn't enough room. And lo and behold, the piano was now a very unique multicolor because of all the sun damage. So protect your pianos, protect your furniture, protect your beautiful wooden flooring. Shades do a wonderful job of protecting your purchases, extending the life of what you have. Also, giving you UV protection lowers your electrical bill, which will pay for itself in, math amount of time. And then another thing that we are seeing, and this has been increasingly common, especially over the past couple of years, where everyone was really spending a lot of time at home and making kind of the home, so to speak, work for them. But integrating the shades with the control system is marvelous, especially when it comes to waking up in the morning. Because I'll tell you, the worst way you can wake up is with an alarm that is blaring in your face. Yes, it will wake you up, but with a ton of anxiety. How about instead you set it so we're at 7 o'clock in the morning, or whenever it is you are waking up, you lazy boneses, automatically the shades will start raising up and you get softly woken up by that beautiful natural light that is effectively stroking your face, not literally, hopefully, but proverbially. So this way, there are so many wonderful, even health reasons to get shades. So whether you're not trying to find the right room environment for your projection or the myriad of other things, there are a lot of really cool solutions on the indoor side, which again, none of this would have been done without all the things that you brought up to us.
So just a couple of questions here, just for my own education.
Yes.
So just like your screens, your shades can be battery operated. So you don't have to, in a retrofit application, figure out how to run electrical, through your exterior walls, in some crazy way to get to these shades. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Oh,
Again,
man,
the freedom of being able to do whatever you need to do is such an important thing, because sure, if you can run wires, great, of course, go for it. But usually that's done in the pre-construction process. By the way, this is also a tech tips portion, but it's fine. We're mixing and matching. It works great. But of course, wired can get you the best performance possible. But if you build wireless properly, you can get the performance of a wired shade while having the freedom of a wireless one, which sounds insane, but let me explain how that's possible. We don't offer one version of wireless, but we in fact have two versions of wireless shades. So yes, you can get them with a battery, but also we have a relatively basic wireless communication, then we have a sophisticated wireless communication. Because as you know, if you've ever used a remote control and you press the button, sometimes the signal gets to where it needs to go, and other times, if you have a lot of baby monitors or fish tanks, why not? The signal can get lost in translation. And so you have to press the button multiple times. And when you're paying and spending your hard-earned cash on a wireless shading system, it shouldn't be maybe. Which is why we don't just have that basic one-way communication, but we also have a wireless system called Zigbee 3.0, which effectively is a mesh network. So as soon as you press the button, the remote sends a message to the system and everything starts talking to each other. Absolutely everything is talking, validating, making sure everything is listening. And then it takes the message back to the remote, hugs and kisses, and nothing is lost in translation. If you build this Zigbee 3.0 network properly, which is so easy to do, you can expect the consistency of a wired system while having the freedom of a wireless one. So for those of you that can't wire your stuff, don't fret. Zigbee 3.0 is truly the next best thing. great solution for wireless.
That's cool. So I'm gonna riddle you a situation, and you tell me if this seems reasonable to you. So
yes,
take a home, say maybe
Done.
one in Colorado, in Castle Rock, I don't know, maybe, and there's a desire for and created by the wife in this situation, the matron of the facility,
as you will, yes,
to have a situation where she can descend down from the stairs of the second floor where all the sleeping chambers are, and then as she exits onto the first floor, right across from the termination of the stairs is a wall, and there is a panel there. There's a little touch panel. We have some buttons. She wants to be able to push one button, and then in the kitchen have you walk through this little breakfast nook area. She wants the lights to come on there. She wants the lights to come on the kitchen. She wants the shades to open, and she wants the music to play. Right. So she just wants to descend down, push the button, and she also wants the coffee maker to start making coffee too. But we're gonna have to do something different because our little K-cup thing, I don't think it's automatable.
Some are, but absolutely. And what you're talking about is probably one of the most common utilizations of a shading system. And that's when you start integrating things with home automation. That's where you will have your smart lights, your smart shades, your projector, your smart coffee machine, your smart speakers. You press a button and magic begins. That is such a common way to do things. But at the same time, it used to be somewhat convoluted because you would have to have very, very specific parts to make things work. And so what we wanted to make sure is that when you wanted to do something like this, there was a really simple solution that can do that and even more. So on the wired side, we have a really nifty device called the Troy, which effectively allows you to integrate our indoor shades and motorized screens with that control system that you're talking about, where you can control everything. Now, here's the beauty of the Troy. Not only does it allow you to use a control system, which is great, not only can you perhaps connect some kind of a wall plug to it, so you have a tactile response on a wall button. That used to be the only choice that you have. But now with Troy, you can also start using RF remotes to control these hardwired shades, which is something that was impossible in a hardwired system before. And ladies and gentlemen, you don't just have to use our RF remotes. No. You can use a lot of them that are out there from other manufacturers as well, which I cannot legally say so I don't get sued. But likely, if there's another remote that you want to use, let us know. There's a high likelihood that it will absolutely work. So not only are you have the control system as an option, you have the wall switch as an option. Now on the wired side, you can use wireless remotes too. So it's all about giving you tons of options.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm going to have to definitely dig into the shade situation a little bit deeper. Now, not only do you have indoor shades, but I think as our last topic before we transition over to Content Corner, outdoor shades. And what do you need to? What are you shading yourself from outdoors? I don't understand. I don't get it.
I mean, I think you're asking the 180-degree wrong question. What aren't you shading yourself from for the outdoors? Okay, listen. So I've now said pretty much the same thing twice, but I promise it's real. When we started making outdoor shades, we took the same feedback as before. I know. But when you look at the outdoor shades, Zen 2, and you compare it to our indoor lineup, you compare it to the Solo Pro motorized screen, they all look very, very similar. So we wanted to make sure that you had something that was absolutely beautiful, opulent, and most importantly, we want you to have a way to actually enjoy your livable space. So I'm going to ask a very difficult question, and some of you may not want to admit this. How many of you in the audience have purchased a lot of beautiful outdoor furniture? You have wonderful pots and plants. You painted the fence. You have a wonderful grill. And how often are you actually utilizing that space? I know it's a sore subject. I get it.
We don't talk about that.
I know that we don't talk about it, but listen, let's rip off this Band-Aid because it's not just about having these fun little things. It's also about having legitimately usable space. And so living in Texas, our space is not really usable. During the day, it's hot and humid. And during the evening, the weather's okay, but then the mosquitoes come out. That is not livable space. with outdoor shades, especially with how much real estate is costing so much right now, is by far the easiest way to expand the square footage of your place, give you more livable space. And if you do it with our track system, which is a really popular approach, you keep all the insects out. And most importantly, you can keep the weather out or the weather in with some kind of a butane powered heat lamp or an air conditioning unit. So this way, not only do you get UV protection for yourself, which as you can see, clearly I need it because of my very Eastern European heritage, but also protects your outdoor furniture, just like on the indoor shade side of things. You get the privacy, which I'm guessing you're going to want to do. But again, you can really finally take back the space and utilize it in the way that you always dreamed that you, thought you would. Now
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So for people that have some type of awning on top where they have some top coverage, you just go right around the edges, drop those shades down. So here's a question. Just say you have like a sliding door or some type of egress door from your kitchen or whatnot out to a back deck. What's the right move there? Would that be a indoor shade mounted on the inside of that? Have you ever seen someone try and mount some type of outdoor shade on the outside? To the outside of their house.
So you absolutely, I mean, you definitely can do that. But normally the utilization of the outdoor shade, you'll probably put it in between your columns. So right around there, kind of more alongside the patio. And in fact, that's probably going to be the better placement because you can stop the UV before it gets too close to the house, which also then helps with the heating bill. Now, theoretically, what you can do is you can do one of our indoor shades and then mount it over top of the door. That's definitely a way that you can do it. But of course, keep in mind, you got to make sure that you have the clearance for the handles that are potentially there, clearance for the trim. So there for sure are ways to do that. But really, if you're going to be doing outdoor shades, I would just recommend have it mounted on the patio side. And you can even mount it to the inside or outside of the patio because they are weather resistant. So if you want to do the box or the roll, that's totally fine. But that for sure would be my recommendation. But we do see people that do both outdoor shades on the patio and then on the indoor shades, they also have something on the inside. Not uncommon to see that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. I have a lot of research to do to understand all of the shading opportunities that SI presents. Because, I've done home automation quite a bit in the past, but I've never done shades before. So this, yes, I need to learn. So thank you for the info there. It's good stuff.
It's my pleasure. And again, it's all, once you start getting acquainted with things, it all becomes a really seamless thing. And especially for those of you that already have home automation, you kind of know why it's as incredible as it is. And yes, of course, shades are great, but make sure you have your lighting, you have your sound system, you have everything. Make sure you have that experience. So that way, when you are really relaxing, you have something that is truly a place where you can go, just chill, escape, and be you. It's just such an amazing experience.
Awesome. And with that, on that note, we're going to move on to the third portion of our show, and that's Content Corner. Now, let's take a break and stroll down to a cozy little place I like to call Content Corner. This is where we talk about all the cool content we love to consume. And this week, we have something a little special, a little special. It's going to be a party today. That we are going to have a full house, and I'm super excited because I always love the featured guest and the featured topic, but that's kind of a pathway that we use, those things to build these systems that we like to enjoy. And this is where we get to talk about the stuff that we get to watch or listen to or whatever it might be. And Sasha's going to hang around with us today. He was brave enough to say, okay, I can do this all. I'm not going to bail out.
This is great.
Content Corner.
No, we got this.
He's like, I'm in. But I am lucky enough today to have two of my friends that are awesome and know everything about everything. Now, one, you guys know, and it's the person that you love to see on the show every week, if possible, and I do too, and that is Mike of Audio Arkitekts. Mikey, welcome to the show.
Hello, Mike. Nice to meet you.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
Sound great.
I can hear you on your weird new headphones I've never seen before. What's up?
Remember, these were the Razer ones I reviewed that one time that I used for gaming. The missus is sleeping, so I had to come out to the living room.
Nice. You sound good.
Good.
Right on.
So that means when I'm yelling at people while I'm gaming, it works well. That's good.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on your bad side. That's for sure. I would uninstall instantly. Yes.
Right on. Well, welcome, Mike. But also today, last but not least, we have a new addition to the show. This is his virgin appearance.
Ooh.
His very first time to be on screen, maybe anywhere, anytime. And he is another local Coloradan.
We were trying to figure out what that was during our test run. Mike, what are they? What are they?
Coloradans?
I think they're Coloradans. I'm one of them, unfortunately now.
Yeah,
but
we all are. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Eddie, the editor.
Hi, Eddie, the editor.
I'm speaking to you live from my $27.35 Logitech webcam, and it's
excellent.
Superior microphone. I'm just here laughing because I've been wondering that too. We've been here about a month and a half, my wife and I don't know what we call ourselves. You know?
That's one of the weird ones because we tried Coloradan, Coloridian, and everything.
Did you say he should call himself the weird one? Is
that I kind of feel like we can maybe go with something like the botanist, because botany is a big thing.
Botany, man.
What are you talking about? Yeah, of course.
We're all over the place.
We're herbologists, right?
Of course.
Well, Sasha and I were talking about proctology a little bit earlier.
We burn sage, just
literally
a different kind of sage.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man. We got a few more people in here. Dalamandrum is up in the house with us, straight from the wilds of the Pacific Northwest. Glad to have you on the show with us. And Double A.
Yes.
Still hasn't made the AAA level yet, but still a Double A, and glad to have you watching. Easy HT Tech. He is not about the hard stuff. He wants home theater tech easy
shades,
with this as well.
Of course, he's doing good. Look at
I gotta tell you guys, first thing, Sasha, I've been on this call for maybe about 20 minutes watching this stuff, and I have to tell you, SI is just salivate for that gear so much. I can't even tell you how many nights I've gone to sleep holding my phone, dreaming about having a solo projector.
Well, your dreams can be your reality for X amount of money, I guess. But yeah,
if you make it
all
rain,
be done.
the screen
Absolutely,
will come.
Yes. No, we appreciate it. Thank you, man. And you're maybe only partially joking, but we're so happy that you love it, man. Thank you for the feedback. That's so awesome.
Yeah, man, it's really solid gear, and I mean, you can you see the industry following what you guys are doing, so that's really cool.
Thank you, man. Cool.
All right, so I'm going to bring a little order to this chaos because there's one thing that I want to talk about, and Mike and I are pretty invested in this. And on the 21st, I believe it is, of this month, we're going to take the pilgrimage up to Highlands Ranch to the Dolby Atmos Theater to take in a flick. And the flick we're going to watch is one that's near and dear to my heart, and that is Dune. Dune is coming, part 1. Yes, it is. And I could not be more excited.
Hey, Giles, I heard online today that this is weird because I can't hear myself. Normally I can hear myself, so I don't even know how I sound. But I heard that this could be turning into a trilogy.
Interesting. Oh,
well, there are a ton of books that they can draw from.
Right. But for sure, we know it's doing well in Europe. It's already been pre-released in Europe, so we know it's doing pretty good out there. The majority of the reviews I haven't read them all because I don't want to ruin it for myself, but majority are good. So I'm looking forward to it. Giles is going to be sitting right behind me. I got the seats right in front of him. We're dragging our significant others and his kids to the show, so they're going to hate us after. But we're going to have a good time. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, I'm going to go see that one by myself. I'm not even going to try to explain it. I'm just going to sit front and center, show up on a Tuesday morning. The benefits of work from home, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Well, if you're around on 21st at 6 p.m. and there's still tickets available, we're going up. So you're more than welcome to show up there at the same time we're watching to cheer with us.
I'm game for that. I've never seen the original.
Oh, I've got the original on my Kaleidoscape, and I plan to be watching it. Nobody wants to watch it with me. Mike smiles. I'm all like, "Hey, anybody want to watch this?" And it's just like, "Hold on, I can make the sound."
I have it on my Plex, so I can watch it from here.
Of course, very legal, very cool. So yeah, you're good.
So this is what happened. I was like, "Hey, friends, would you like to watch the original Dune with me?"
Yeah.
Pretty much, basically.
And I asked my kids if they wanted to watch it, and all I got was,
how many kids do you have? I didn't know that he has such a big family.
Just two. But when they laugh, it sounds like a crowd.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, I'm happy that all of you are so into Dune. And when Giles told me that we're going to be talking about a random topic, I'm like, okay, cool. And then he said Dune. And I first thought initially Doom. I played Doom growing up, and I realized, no, that's not what Giles was talking about. It's in fact a movie that everyone knows everything about. And I realized I knew nothing about it at all. So I did my due diligence, went to YouTube, looked at the trailer, and I have some thoughts. And I don't know if you're going to like to hear this. I don't think I can give an unbiased review, because as soon as I realized that it was Hans Zimmer doing the music, I'm in love. That's it. I can no longer accurately assess if the show is good. I think the cinematics look great. The actors seem wonderful, but those sweet, sweet heavens and his patented balm, thank you, Hans. Just that alone, I'm going to go see it.
I just got the hairs up on my arms.
Saw him in concert in Georgia when I lived in Atlanta, and he's even better live.
I'm sure he's. I think there's certain things that are subjective in life. Many things are. I believe an objective fact is that Hans Zimmer is the greatest composer of our time right now. Objectively, no dispute.
I agree. Mike, what were you going to say? You got excited for a second.
Well, because I just ordered on eBay the sketchbook CD soundtrack from the new movie, and I don't even think I don't know how they got it on eBay, but who knows eBay. But I ordered.
That's her slogan. Who knows eBay?
Yeah, who knows eBay? But I'll tell you what, Hans Zimmer and Giles and I are both huge fans of Hans Zimmer. There's nothing he does wrong. Like everything, like from Interstellar to any of his soundtracks he's done has just been beautiful composition, beautiful.
Okay, Eddie, so I want to take a moment to focus on you. And I want you to tell people who you are. So everybody knows Mike. He's Audio Arkitekts. He's in this YouTube game, and new content every week. And we'll talk a little bit about content that everybody's got coming before we close tonight. And then everybody now knows Sasha with the silent D. Screen Innovations with shades and all kinds of cool stuff, and the awesome natural background that's not fake. That's like legit, the real material back there. Yeah, look at that.
Definitely real. This is all real.
It's all real.
I'm a broken facade of a human being.
Yeah, I know. It's all real. Yeah. But Eddie, who are you? What do you do? And what's your claim to fame?
I feel like that's a really philosophical and deep question, and I think
here we go. I love this.
It's a little too much to ask for my first time out.
Okay.
I'm a video editor. I've been doing it for about 17 years now. I started off doing mostly television stuff, promos, trailers, behind the scenes, and then started moving more into film toward the latter part of my career. So I noticed you have a wall of Blu-rays behind you, and chances are that what is that?
Those are books.
Books, baby.
What is that?
Books.
Do the pictures move?
No, they don't. You have to use your eyes to go left and right.
Well, I didn't know that Giles read. Oh, interesting.
So chances are
I don't have any other physical media, only books.
So chances are you owned a DVD or Blu-ray with some sort of a behind-the-scenes thing that I edited. So I worked like on I can't remember which Terminator movie, Insidious, Sinister. I think that's what it was called. Yeah, I can't. Those horror movies to me, they're kind of like blend together. But yeah, did behind the scenes featurettes for discs for that for a long time, and then a couple of years back, I made the jump into corporate video editing. So I do internal presentations for companies like IBM and DIY videos for like Home Depot, for YouTube. And, you know, I love it. But for me, the career stemmed from being an absolute lover of cinema and to a lesser extent television. Although in the last few years, I kind of feel like the pendulum has swung the other way, because I love film. And for me, the experience of going to a movie theater, there's nothing like it, right? Mm-hmm. But man, we are living in a golden age of television right now. Like, we are super, super spoiled. Like, I was watching a show earlier today that is airing on a major network that I won't name, and I won't tell you what the show is because it's horrendously bad. But the visual effects look like something you would have seen in a movie 5 years ago. And so when you take that and then you pair it with some of these other shows like Mandalorian, let's say, that has an awesome plot and is amazing, mm-hmm. you know, we're spoiled. And so anyways, my love of all of that kind of brought me into, you know, editing, doing it as a career. And so when I watch movies and TV shows, I tend to, two things happen for me that are different than happen with other people. Not everybody, but most people don't do this like this. But as an editor, you're looking at things 30 frames to 60 frames per second, sometimes 24 if it's film. But the point is, you have to see mistakes that happen really quickly. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes, a lot of times, I'll watch something and catch a really bad edit. And whoever's with me, my wife or a sibling or, you know, parents, won't see it. And I'll have to bite my tongue because I don't want to ruin the experience for them. And it happens with great movies and TV shows and bad ones. And it's just like, and then there are other times where somebody does a really great edit or a really cool piece of sound design, or, you know, a shot that's supposed to be a continuous shot, but you, like, I could see the edit points, you know, that stuff. I love it. It good or bad, whatever. It's just, it's interesting to see that way because most people don't. And then lastly, we were talking about Hans Zimmer. Music's a huge part of what I do. Like, you edit to the music a lot of the times, unless you're doing film, in which case the music is scored to the movie. But sometimes, you know, like famously, the ending of E.T., Spielberg timed the spaceship going over the moon or whatever it was doing to the song. And so, yeah, watching Hans Zimmer, or, you know, old school James Horner, obviously John Williams, like, it, you know, it's a whole different experience.
Masters of their craft. Any master of their craft. Absolutely. It's such a joy to watch. Of course, just experience the process. Yeah.
So that's me, just a movie nerd who makes money doing movie related stuff.
Yeah. So what Eddie didn't tell everybody is that the way that we met was, he watched my YouTube channel, and then he realized that I was here in Colorado, and he got in contact with me. He's like, dude, it's so bad. What are you doing? It's so bad.
Well, it was worse than that, because I think I actually even showed up at your house and was standing outside the window doing this.
He's like, you give all editors a bad name.
And he's like, should I like call the cops? And I was like, no. This means I can cut your videos better.
Yeah. I can see how that gesture could be lost in translation, but you learn.
But he also said the same thing Sasha said. He's like, if you make it rain, I can cut your videos. All I want to see is $100 bills.
What I love about Giles is that he will say things with such conviction that it makes me wonder, I must have actually said that verbatim. So I'm very easily swayed. Giles, I do have a quick question for Eddie. May I?
Absolutely.
Eddie, are you able to turn that off? And I ask because, does it get difficult to truly enjoy media? Now, there is, of course, joy in being to see the tricks behind the scenes and know what they're doing. But can you really kind of truly let your brain rest a little bit and just take in what you're watching? Or is that pretty challenging?
It used to be challenging, but not anymore. I think it's one of those things where, you know, years ago when I moved to Los Angeles, I thought I was going to be like one of these like high art filmmaker types. And no disrespect to them, because, you know, art has made some wonderful movies. But I realized that when you're looking at everything with like a hypercritical eye, you don't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
And so I tend to be hypercritical when it's my work, because it's my paycheck. And if the work looks good and it makes my clients or my employers look good, they will appreciate me more. They'll give me more. It's like a loop, right? But when I'm watching something for myself, I'm not sitting down there to like trash a movie or a TV show or something. I want to enjoy it. And as a result, I have some horrendous films and TV shows that I love because I just turned my brain off. Like, I'm a huge science nerd, but I love Ancient Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
It's
dessert. Yeah, it's just dessert.
It is dessert. It's so good. It's so tasty.
Yeah.
But yes, to give you a super long-winded answer, it's extremely easy for me to just turn it off.
Right on. So let's talk a little more about content then. I want to start with Mike. Mike, what's kind of on your list right now? What has hit your world that's kind of got you thinking about stuff? What's happening these days?
Well, before I say anything, I just want to say, where is he? This way. Eddie, Han Solo and Carbonite. Hell yes. Love that.
My wife, man. She's the best.
That is awesome. Right,
it looks
there.
Good.
That is so cool.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan, which that's kind of why I'm looking forward to Dune, because supposedly Star Wars did borrow a few things from Dune, but so did a lot of other properties. What am I excited about, Giles? Well, I just saw Venom 2. I don't know if you saw it yet. The second
Let There
Venom.
Be Carnage. No, I haven't seen it.
Without giving anything away, this one was much funnier than the first one, even though the first one had its comedic value. This one was a lot more banter between Venom and Eddie Brock. So there was a lot of, funny banter between them. I felt the third act was very rushed. I thought it was only like an hour and 20 minutes, the movie itself. So it wasn't like a super long movie. And it just felt rushed, and I felt they could have done more with it.
So can I venture a guess here from the editor point of view? I saw it too. Also enjoyed the comedy. I'm pretty sure what happened was this movie was in pre-production, going into production around the time that Marvel and Sony were working out on that. Remember the whole thing that they were about to pull out?
Yeah.
So I think they came back together, and now they're working together really well. And I think Venom being where it was, it probably had to chop off a bunch of the third act in order to, well, I don't want to give it away, but
don't give it away. I haven't seen it. Yeah.
So the thing that they were trying to aim for with the ending of the movie and the credit scene and all that, I don't think it would have worked if whatever was there, if I'm correct, remained in the cut. Because it's not that hard to make a 2-hour superhero movie nowadays. Like your phone can rotoscope you out of an image and create a fake background. Like you can have a 2-hour Venom movie. And I think that's probably what happened. Because I felt the same way with that third act. It was like the pieces are here, but it's something.
I'm really glad I stayed after the credits. I won't give away what happened after the credits, but it's definitely worth staying after the credits.
Right on.
For me, the price of admission was the credit scene was worth the price of admission by itself.
Wow, that's cool. And
agreed.
I'm gonna make a comment about a credit scene here in a minute, but Sasha,
yes,
anything you want to call out from a content point of view? That's not Dune or
yeah, I hate to say it because of course everyone is talking about it. I know, I get it. But I thought, let me just see what Squid Game's all about.
Talk about it.
Well, have any of you had the opportunity to observe the game of Squid? Yes.
I am 1.5 episodes in.
Awesome.
It was absolutely mind-bending. And I'm so happy that I saw it. And how would one even, how would you tell people what Squid Game is about without actually getting into what it is about and kind of ruining it? Because I feel like it's one of those things where watch 2 episodes and at that point you'll know. It kind of tells you everything you need to know. How would you say, hey, here's what Squid Game's about without,
So the log line of Squid Game, I would say is probably It's Survivor meets The Purge.
What an apt description.
I love it.
And then when you watch it, oh boy, does it! If you're looking for a pick me up, this may not be what you want to do. But yeah. Now there is one thing that is absolutely hysterical. So for those of you that don't know Squid Game, it's a wonderful, a lot of great Korean actors. I'm assuming they're very emotive. But there are a couple of episodes where there are a few American actors, and the dialogue and the way they spoke was absolutely so ridiculous and so over the top. And I was trying to figure out, how could they not get any better American actors to do this? But as it turns out, I did a little bit of research, and it turns out that there are a very small group of American actors that they just kind of keep using. And what they're mainly looking for is enunciation, not clever dialogue, but enough to where the average person can kind of pick up some of the dialogue, which made a bit of sense because when you hear them, there is literally no way you could act that poorly if you tried. There is no way. No way.
That's hilarious.
Well, I think another thing to consider with that, and I may have read this somewhere, but it's possible that they were trying to create a caricature of like that type of American character, somebody with, money to throw away and a matching lack of morals.
Yeah.
In order to justify like this incredibly violent thing that you're watching. So yeah, it didn't bother me that much. I actually thought it was pretty funny. I was okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was wondering, I knew that must have been a very deliberate choice because everything else was very much kind of over the top. It's still kind of confined within the over the top world they created. So it made sense. So then you had this kind of a slightly jarring departure to where obviously they're doing it intentionally. But as the observer, I'm like, wow, that's the best they could do. Maybe I should get into acting overseas.
Yeah.
And then you realize that they don't pay too well because they're not part of any guilds. And you realize that's probably why those actors are there. Either way, I'm happy they're chasing their dreams and they're happy. That's the most important.
You could be their Marlon Brando.
I very well could not, but I appreciate the vote of confidence. Thank you. I'm going to keep you around. Yes.
And speaking of votes of confidence, Eddie, any content you want to call out? Anything that you've seen recently that's kind of tickled you?
So, well, I can't talk about that content here, but that's an offline conversation. But so going back to Dune, I loved Blade Runner 2049, and it's the same director, Denis Villeneuve. Like, how do you say it?
I don't know. That guy.
So I watched this trailer. Haven't seen the original. Love sci-fi, obviously. But there's one thing. This movie has one strike against it for me, and it's that there can only be one sandworm in my heart, and it's the one from Beetlejuice. And so this movie has that big sandworm you see at the end. You know what I'm talking about? At the end of the Dune trailer, it comes out. It's like this gigantic.
It's humongous.
This giant, like, sphincter-looking thing, and then the Dune title for some reason comes out on top of it.
Hopefully, not projecting the future of the movie, but yeah.
The movie's going to be incredible because this director is awesome. Like, this guy could direct like an instructional video on how to put up toilet paper, and it would win Oscars. But I'm a Beetlejuice guy, man, through and through, and that's the only sandworm for me. So, but yes, that aside, I've been doing a thing for my job of presentation. They asked us to do something about what inspires you, and so You said
Home Theater Fanatics?
I did.
Again, it's the confidence. That's what gets you.
I was gonna put up my Giles shrine, but then I thought that might be kind of weird.
I got a cutout you can use.
Yeah, it's you with like George Clooney's Batman.
It's just me.
Man, I've been watching Foundation on Apple TV Plus, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's Isaac Asimov, so it's fantastic. But I can't get over, in a good way. But I can't get over. Have you guys watched this at all?
I'm 4 episodes in.
Okay, so Foundation in a nutshell is essentially the fall of the Roman Empire, but like in space, and it's expanded through like whatever galaxy they live in. They don't tell you if it it's wherever it is. So it's like a Roman civilization, and now like their Caesar, which they don't their monarch or whatever. 400 years ago, this guy decided only he could rule, but he was old and dying, so he clones himself. And so fast forward to present day, and for the past 400 years, there are always 3 of this guy on the throne. There's the young one, which is Brother Dawn. There's the middle one, which is Brother Day, and then there's Brother Dusk. And it's the same dude cloned, just at different stages of his life.
Yeah, and they all call him Empire. Everybody refers to him.
They're all 3 of them. And then when the oldest one gets to the age where he gets too old, they don't tell you, but it looks like he gets cancer or something. Then he has to go, and then like they clone a new baby, and then the old guy who's on his way out, they call him Brother Darkness. And this blows my mind, because if I had to deal, I'm 38, and if I had to deal with 16-year-old Eddie, I would whoop his ass. And it's so like, can you even imagine how insufferable 70-year-old Eddie would be, like telling the younger ones of us to get off his lawn? Because I want to do it now. So like the show is incredible in so many different ways, but that I can't get past that to me, because it's so interesting by itself.
It is really, really cool.
Yeah. And the score is awesome. The cinematography is incredible. The effects. Another show where like you forget you're watching a TV show. And in Dolby Vision, on like I have a bargain Hisense television for my living room. It's like the throwaway. It looks incredible. I can't even imagine what it would look like on a better setup, like an SI screen.
I was gonna say, and you were gonna shoehorn it in. You're all right in my books. You're good.
All right, folks. We're drawing near to the end of our time, but I do want to spend a little time with Mike, and I wanted to bring up one topic, and I'm springing this on Mike a little bit, although it's something we talked about a little bit earlier today, and I want to get opinions, at least from you two guys. So Mike and I always talk about strategy on YouTube and our channels and how we deal with stuff and how do we brand ourselves and that kind of thing. And I've gone through long struggles with trying to figure out what the correct branding is for me, because I don't want to just do one thing. I want to broadly cover home entertainment and everything therein, everything from content with movies to shades, to home remodeling, to home theater, to speakers, subwoofers, kaleidoscapes, home automation. So, I want to talk about all those things, and then even computers and games and cell phones and all the things that I like, right? And I'm like, how do I name that channel, right? And then Mike, his channel is Audio Arkitekts right now. Mine's Home Theater Fanatics, and he's kind of in a similar situation. The name kind of shoehorns you in, and so we kind of came to the same, maybe not an epiphany, but we're kind of drawing conclusions now, because I look at people like MBK. Are you guys familiar with Marquez Brownlee on YouTube? He's got like 30 million subscribers, but it's just his name. And then like Linus Tech Tips, his name's Linus, right? And he's got like 30 million subscribers. And then in the hi-fi niche, there are people like Andrew Robinson, right? And their branding is themselves. So the question is, is that the right way for me or Mike or anybody else to go, as opposed to having like a specific name like Home Theater Fanatics? So I'm really curious. Anybody out there, that has an opinion on this, feel free to throw it up. But if I were to change my channel to just Giles McCoy, right? And I'm going to watch the new video by Giles. What's he talking about? Oh, look, he's doing XYZ. Or maybe Mike changes his to Mike Prez, and let's check out this new.
What's Giles talking about? Episode 1.
Yeah, something like that. Just curious, what do you guys think? Is it the right path? Is it the wrong path, or does it not matter at all?
I mean, I think you know which way I'm going with this.
Oh yeah, you're like, be yourself and brand your name.
Did I point? Did it line up with my name there?
Yeah.
And if not, I'm
did.
sure we can find someone to edit it later. So
I don't know anyone.
yeah.
So Sasha, any ideas?
It's a tough thing because obviously, you want to be yourself, but at the same time, you want to differentiate what you are. And sometimes a brand, it can be a scary thing because then you lean too much into it and get away from what you really should be doing. What I would do, based on someone that has 0 YouTube subscribers and 0 YouTube channels, so my advice is very important here, is I would just keep making the stuff that you really enjoy. If you enjoy talking about cell phones and talking about pizza pockets, whatever it is, just keep going and keep making that. Eddie the editor, pizza pockets are delicious and they are a viable substitute. Okay, cool.
That wasn't a face of disapproval.
Okay, cool. It was a face of romanticism. Okay, they are very, very thin line. But I think that as you start creating stuff, things will start naturally making more sense and you'll start finding your own voice. And as a result, you probably will end up kind of stumbling into a channel that makes sense. So how is that for a whole bunch of words where actually I gave you no advice?
Right. I'm still trying to decipher that, but
yeah,
I will come back and listen to this over again and transcribe it and see if I can dig out the brilliance that I know lives therein.
Once you find it, please send it my way so I can have it as well.
Right on. Mike, do you have any thoughts on any of that? I mean, have you given it any more thought since then? I don't know. This is really like weighing on my conscience right now. I guess that's probably a bad thing. It's not really my conscience, but I'm just thinking about it too much.
Well, my only issue, I mean, if I were to do it myself, which I have thought about, because I did spell architects very obscurely, so it's hard to find. It's not really there's I don't know. I still haven't decided. I've put a lot of money, effort, and time into branding Audio Architects, from the website to logo design to just everything that's gone along with it. For me, it's kind of a daunting task to have to start all over. But at the same time, kind of what we were talking about earlier, we're still so fresh and new. If we're going to do it, now's the time, Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Mm. Yeah. And, so here's a good comment, and I really appreciate this one. He says, Giles, I've honestly been digging the real life kitchen upgrades, the DIY sub bills, etc. So, Mike makes fun of me all the time because I've got 2 kitchen upgrade videos right now, and I'm going to have more, right? And I'm trying to get I'm working on getting one of the Samsung Hub refrigerators and integrating that in with Ring and all of the cameras, and then I'm going to do whole home audio throughout the thing, and then automate lights and all this kind of stuff. So that's a series that I'm working on, but it's not really home theater related at all, right? But it's home technology and automation, and but then it's also new countertops and new floors and painting and stuff like that. And I want to have that freedom that if I want to talk about that stuff, I can still talk about that stuff, and it be okay.
Maybe you could do home technology fanatics. I mean, effectively that shoehorns theater in as well.
I mean, so that's something I've thought about as well. Just do home tech. Just home tech channel.
Go simple and just do like Giles updates it or upgrades it.
Always an exclamation mark, and then this avatar.
That's basically what you're doing. I'm upgrading my kitchen. I'm upgrading my fridge. It has a subwoofer in the freezer.
Now the problem is that you're gonna have to keep upgrading everything.
I like it. Fridge sub.
Giles upgrades it. I like that. I'm biased.
Yeah,
obviously it was my idea.
Speaking about not shoehorning yourself into a specific niche, but listen, if you're gonna have one, that's a pretty good one.
I mean, that's pretty much what you're doing with all your stuff is upgrading it. Is I want to get a Ring camera because a Ring doorbell because my regular one's not fancy. I want to get a.
You're absolutely correct. Everything is an upgrade.
It's dumb.
Yeah, I
like
that.
Technically an upgrade. Yeah,
I like
you're
that
right.
reason it's not fancy. That's it's not fancy enough.
Look, let's be real. What our hobby, the thing we like, entertainment is important, but it's not like 3 or 4 custom subwoofers important. So what we love is something extra that we get to have in our lives.
Sure.
So, you know, like when I say fancy, I mean, like, you know, I have DefTech speakers. I love them. They are my favorite speakers I've ever had. I know that they make speakers that are higher end, that sound better. But for me, man, they're my bread and butter. I love them. They sound amazing to me. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, come up with something simple like that. And, you know, I keep thinking something about Giles Miles, but I don't know how that works. That's like
word. But for sure it rhymes, and that's a starting point.
It is a starting point.
How about Giles Smiles?
Can you do that? Let's see it.
Now you look like Sport Smalley.
There we go. There we go. That's the Giles Smiles that everyone has been dreaming of.
All right. Okay. I think we've been introspective enough with that. You know, we're gonna go ahead and close this one down. Sasha, thanks for joining us. Eddie,
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Welcome for your first time. Glad to get you acquainted with the audience. And Mike, as always, you're my rock. You're my man. Thank you for coming on and supporting. And everybody, make sure to go like and subscribe Audio Arkitekts. If he changes the name, this might be one of the last chances you have to support him under this name. So you need to do it now. I need to see 3,000 or 4,000 extra subscriptions.
Smash those likes and subscribes. Just repeatedly obliterate those likes and subscribes and comments.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then Eddie, I don't know. Are you doing like a YouTube thing, or you have anything out there, social media website, anything going on?
Just my I just have my personal social media. Nothing fancy. Put up a picture of a box I built yesterday for my deck.
Nice.
Super exciting. Once you're done reading about the superior quality of SI products, you can come and look at my crappy box that I made. And if you need to hire an editor, you can visit my editor's website, which is eddieeditor.com.
I'm gonna check that out. I've not looked at it before, so I'll put that down in the notes below if anybody wants to find it. And when I hit the lottery, I'll hire you as my personal editor for my YouTube channel.
Hit the lottery. I'm sure you have some nice amps lying around.
Oh, right. All amp companies out there, please send some over so that I can have good videos.
Backward for 3 years. Good luck.
I need the help. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Everybody in the audience, your time is valuable. Thanks for spending it with us.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Take it easy, everyone.
Right. Bye, everyone.